Boys and girls, I am going to be going over the Chapter 5 integer coordinate plane test. Make sure to mark any problems you need me to go over again with you when you're in class prior to um, coming in to retake it. So 1 through 4 says write an integer to describe the situation. I just need an integer, positive, negative, whole number. So it says Matt made a deposit of $234 in his bank. He's putting money in. That's just going to be a positive 234. Okay, next we have the balloon expands. It expands 3 centimeters each second. Positive 3. It's blowing up. Okay, it's going out. Okay, next we have there was a decrease, it's going down, a decrease of decrease of 8 degrees in the temperature, which would be a -8. Next, we have a tub drains. Okay, it's going down. Drains 4 inches each minute. So we have a -4. All right, so next we are moving down to absolute value, and it says evaluate. Now remember, absolute value is the distance to zero. It will always be a positive number. Okay, so we have the absolute value of -6 is 6. The absolute value of -2 is 2. Bring my subtraction sign down. 6 minus 2 equals 4. Absolute value of 8 is 8. Absolute value of -5 is 5. Bring my subtraction down. 8 minus 5 equals 3. Okay. Absolute value of -19 is 19. Absolute value of 4 is 4. Bring my addition sign down. 19 plus 4 equals 23. Moving right along, we have the absolute value of 12 is 12. The absolute value of -63 is 63. Bring my addition sign down. 12 plus 63 is 75. Okay, so here replace each circle with less than, greater than, or equal to make it a true statement. Now remember, if I have my number line, those are both negative, so I'd have 0 here. We have 2 numbers going there. We're going to have a -16. We're going to have a -7, which means when I look at that, I'm going to say to myself, -7 is closer to 0, so -7 is greater than -16. All right, so it says indicate the answer choice that best completes the statement or answers the question. Which expresses, which expression has the greatest value? So first off, we want to see who has the greatest value. So when I'm looking at this, I'm going to say, well, the absolute value of -13 is 13. However, I have a negative sign outside, which means I need to bring that down. So that's a -13. The absolute value of -1 is 1. Okay. The absolute value of -22 is 22. However, there's a negative sign outside of the absolute value. So there we go. And then we have the absolute value of 20 is 20. I need the greatest value. Okay. My smallest value is -22. Then comes -13. We have 0. My greatest value is the absolute value of 20. Now it says, which situation does not best describe by a negative integer? Okay, so first off, it says the height of 75 yards. Okay, possibly height. A decrease of 4 points. So that's going down. So that's a negative. A loss, that's also a negative. And then when I'm looking below 0, 3 degrees below, that's a negative. So we have, this is a negative, this is a negative, this is a negative. So the only one I guess I could have chosen is this. Does not describe a negative integer. All right, so now we're coming up here and it says, which of the following statements is true? So if I have a number line, we have some positive and negatives there, okay? And if I were to have, which of the statements is true? Well, 4 is less than, so this is my negative, this would be my positive, okay? So positive 4 would be over here, is less than negative 8, which is here. Well, no, that's not a good one. So B, negative 1 is less than negative 4. Well, negative 1 would probably be right here. Negative 1. Negative 4 would be right here. So negative 1 is actually greater, would be that. So, yep, that's out. Okay. So let's see here. What else do we have? We have a negative 9 is greater than 0. So this would be negative 9, and then we have 0 right over here. No, negative 9 is less than. So that is out. So it says negative 2 is greater than negative 7. So if I'm looking here, negative 7 would be here, negative 2 would be here, negative 2 is closer to 0. This would be true. Okay, 13, it says write negative 2/9 as a decimal. Now, a lot of you I know were looking, well, 9 does not go into 10, does not go into 100, does not go into 1,000 evenly, goes into it, but not evenly. So the easiest thing there would just be dividing. So top number in the house, which 2 would be my dividend, 9 would be my divisor. Okay, 2 can 9 cannot go, well, it can. We're going to have to add a decimal. 9 can go into 2 0 times. 9 can go into 20 2 times. 2 times 9 is 18. We are going to subtract. I'm going to get a 2, 0, bring it on down. And if you see here, look what's happening. It is going to be a repeater. Okay, it's just going to keep repeating. What's repeating? The 2 is repeating. So my answer, because it's a negative, would be a negative 0 and 2/10. I only want the repeater over the 2 because that's the only thing that's repeating. All right, so we have 7/15. Again, we're kind of somewhat in the same boat. So I'm going to divide 7 divided by 15. Okay, we are, put our decimal there. Okay, 15 can go into 7 0 times. 15 can go into 70. Well, let's see here. We have 15. Some of you did this, which I liked. You had 15, you had 30, you had 45, right? 45, you had 60. And then you had, so we had, let's see here, we have 30 here, right? We have 30 here. And then here we have 15. So let's see here. If I add those up, that's 75. So that's too high. So I would stick with 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4. 4 times 15 is 60. We're going to subtract 0, 1, bring that down. Okay. Now we come back over here. We have 75. Okay. If I add another 15, 10, 9. So then I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have 5. Okay. If I do one more, okay, I'm going to go over. So I'm going to go 15. And I can also go like this. 15 times 5 would be 25. Carry the 2, which would be 75. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, here we go. 5. That's why I'm off. And then 6. So it is 6. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I off? Check myself. 15 times 6 would be 30. Carry the 3. There we go. 90. That's what I want. So I'm going to go 6 here. 6 times 15 is 90. We're going to subtract 0, 1, bring down the 0. So now I have 100 again. So guess what? I'm repeating there again, but I'm repeating the 6. Okay, I don't want you to, you don't want to put the repeater sign over the 46 because 46 isn't repeating, only the 6. So my answer then would be negative 0 and 46 hundredths, the repeater sign over the 6. All right, so now we're coming here. We need to order these from least to greatest, okay? And we have some decimals and we have some fractions. So if I see here, the one thing that I'm going to pull out right away is this one, okay? That's going to be, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be number, because it's least to greatest, that's going to be number 4. That's going to be my biggest one because it's a positive. Now I need to focus on my negatives, okay? And when I look at this, I'm going to come down here and I'll say, well, here I have, the end I have -8 and 21 hundredths. Here, if I can either divide, but I know it's hundreds, so I'm going to go 100 here. And I could say 5 can go into 100 20 times. So 1 times 20 is 20. So I could do -8 and 21 hundredths. Now I know some of you did that, and some of you just divided. You said, well, there's 1, you're going to put 5, top number in the house. 5 can go into 1 0 times, 5 can go into 10 2, right? Which would be 10. There you go. So we can do that, which would have been there too. You could have, it works. Okay, so we have, the only one we have to look at is this one. And this one is not going to be as easy because I'm gonna have to divide that. So I'd have to go 2, okay, divided by 11. 11 can go into 20 one time. 1 times 11 is 11. 10 minus 1 is 9. Bring down that 0. Okay. 11 can go into 90 8 times, which is 88. But I'm not going to keep going on because I already have two digits, 2 numbers after the decimal. So this here would be -8 and 18 hundredths. So if I have, let's see, a number line, which would go like this. Okay, we already said that I have, my positive would be 8 and 23 hundredths. This would be 0. Then I would have -8 and 18 hundredths. And yes, it'll keep going on, but we only need 2 digits. Then I would go -8 and 20 hundredths. And then my last one, -8 and 21 hundredths. So now we can order them from least to greatest. So I need -8 and 21 hundredths, which is right here, which would be number 1. That's my smallest. -8 equals, and 21 hundredths is less than, then I would go to -8 and 20 hundredths, which happens to be right here, so I'm going to go -8 and 1/5 is next, which is less than -8 and 2/11ths, which is less than my positive number, 8 and 23 hundredths. That would be my answer right there. Okay. Um, moving along, this is my positive. So that's going to be my largest one. Okay, that's going to be 4. So then I just need to focus here. And this one's not so bad because right away, I would need to add a 0 here because I need 2 digits. That's 60. That's 34. And if I go 100 here, 5 can go into 100 20 times. 4 times 20 is 80. So now I have negative 7 and 80 hundredths. So again, if I have a number line here, my positive number is 7 and 6/11ths. Then I have a 0. Next, if you look at that, it's going to be a negative 7 and 34 hundredths. Okay. Then we have 60 or 80. It's going to go negative 7 and 60 hundredths. And then my very last one would be negative, oh, wait a minute. That's not right. Let me go back. Okay, I'm going to go negative 7 and 60. Oh, yeah. 60 hundredths. So I have, um, that's my biggest one. Then I'm going to have, this one's going to be 3. This will be 3, 2, and then this will be my smallest. Like getting turned around here, people. So my last one would be negative 7 and 80 hundredths, which would be negative 7 and 80 hundredths. So when I write it, I'm going to go equals. My smallest is negative 7 and 80 hundredths, which is negative 7 and 4/5 is less than negative 7 and 6/10 is less than. Wait a minute. What did I do here? Okay. I'm backing in on it, people. Hold on 1 second. Making this way harder than I should. I don't need to mess you guys up. I did not see this clearly. You guys probably did, but I didn't. That is also a positive. So what I'm going to do here. Okay, so I have 2 positives. I have 2 negatives. We just did the negatives, so let's focus on those. We have negative 7 and 60 hundredths, negative 7 and 80 hundredths. So I'm going negative 7 and 80 hundredths here, and then negative 7 and 60 hundredths there. Okay, so now we're going to go on the positives. Oh, okay. So let me get a purple there. So I need 6/11ths because I have 7 and 34 hundredths. So I'm going to go 6 divided by 11. 11 can go into 0 times. 11 go into 65 times, which is 55. Okay, we're going to subtract. We have 5, bring down the 0. I could probably stop there because I have a 5 and I have a 3 right there. Okay. But if we want to have 2 digits, we'll go there. 3, 4. Okay. And this would have been negative 7 and 54 hundredths. And yes, it keeps going on, but I have 54 and I have 34, which means I would put 7 and 34 hundredths here. And then I would have 7 and 54 hundredths here. So now I can order them. Oh, sorry about that, guys. So I have negative 7 and 80 hundredths is my smallest one right there. Negative 7 and 4/5 is less than negative 7 and 6/10. 7 and 6/10 is less than, we have negative or positive 7 and 34 hundredths right here. Okay, is less than 7 and 6/11. Okay, there we go. That should not have taken that long. Okay, I have that one. And I have that one. Least to greatest, least to greatest. And I have this last one, but if you look, I'm going greatest to least. And I'm going to make sure about my positives now. So I have a positive and I have a positive. Okay. So, and then I have my two negatives. So I'm going to come over here. I have 0, I have positive, positive, negative, negative. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on my positives. And I have 2 and 95 hundredths, 2 and 1/9. So I'm going to turn my 1/9 to a decimal. Okay, 9 can go into 10 one time. 1 times 9 is 9. Subtract 1, bring that 0 down. It is going to repeat. Okay, it's just going to keep repeating. So I'm going to go like this. It's really 0 and 1/10 with the repeater over the 1. But if you look now, I have 2 and 11 hundredths. I have 2 and 95 hundredths. Go like that. That would be my repeater. So I would be able to put 2 and 1/9 right here, and then 2 and 95 hundredths right here. All right. So now I'm looking at my negatives, and I'm going to go right here. So I'll have 11 divided by 12. So 12 can go into 11, or 12 can go into 1 0 times, 12 can go into 11 0 times. Whoop, that decimal back there. Now 12 can go into 110. What, 9 times? 9 times 12 is 108. Okay. Which I can't, let's see if I can stop. I can't because I have 96. So I have 90 right there if I were to stop. So I don't want to do that. Little decimal there. So I'm going to subtract. Okay. So I have a 0, 10. Subtract 2, 10 minus the 0. There we go. So 12 can go into 20 one time. I'm not sure why my marker keeps doing that. 12 can go into 20 one time. And now I can stop. I don't have to keep going on because if you noticed, now I have 91. Okay, so this would be a negative 2 and 91 hundredths. This is a negative 2 and 96 hundredths. So negative 2 and 96 hundredths will be further away from 0 than negative 2 and 11/12. Oh, all right. So now, some of you guys did this, but your answer, you gave it to me wrong. Okay, it's greatest to least. So I'm going to have 2 and 95 hundredths is greater than 2 and 1/9 is greater than negative 2 and 11/12 is greater than negative 2 and 96 hundredths. I think these three were the ones that just finally put three because I knew it would take just a little bit to kind of solve them. Okay, so now we're back here and it says choose a letter that's represented by the ordered pair. All right. So let's see here. It says -2, -2, -4. Now remember, when we do this in our notes, I always said this is going to be my positive, positive. We have negative, positive, negative, negative, and then we have a positive, negative. Okay, and there we go. That is right smack dab in the middle. That is my origin. So we're going negative, negative. So we're in quadrant 3. Okay, because then remember we always said this is also quadrant 1, 2, 3, Roman numeral, quadrant 4, again, Roman numeral, quadrant 1, and quadrant 2. All right, so negative, negative, we're in quadrant 3. We're going negative 2, negative 4. There we go. So we would have had point S. We have a positive negative, so we're going to be in quadrant 4, positive 4, negative 1, right there, which is T. 20 says, which of the following correctly identifies the quadrant where the point named negative 3, 7 is located? You don't even have to look really. You're just going to go negative 3 and 7, which would be negative, positive in quadrant 2. Okay. Right here, you're going negative, positive. Okay. So that is quadrant 2. So now let's see here. We're coming down here. All right. So this says, use a coordinate plane below to answer the following questions. A post office is located at the reflection point of A. So here's A. So it's either going to reflect the Y or it's going to reflect the X. So let's see what it wants. The reflection point of A across the X-axis, which means I have to cross it. So here, if I look at this, this is at positive 1, negative 2. So I'm going to cross the X, which means I'm going to be at a positive 1 because my numbers stay the same. I'm going to be at a positive, because I'll start there, positive 1, positive 2. So there we go. There would be my A. Okay. Positive 1, positive 2. That's my ordered pair. Okay. Some of you put, yes, it's in quadrant 1. It is, but it wanted the ordered pair. Next, it says a school is located at the reflection point of B. So here's B. Okay. And this happens to be positive 4, negative 2. So now it says it's a reflection on the y-axis. So I have to cross the y. So I'm going to be at negative 4, negative 2. Negative 4, negative 2. That'll stay the same, which is my B, and that's my reflection. Negative 4, negative 2. All righty. Now we're at the very end here. And it says, use the coordinate plane below to answer the following questions. The locations of some buildings at the county fair are shown on the coordinate plane. Name the ordered pair and the location, so both, okay, and the location of the textile building. All right, so there we go, right there. We have Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So let's see here. Textile is right here. Okay. Well, it's in quadrant 1. So there's my location. And then it needs the ordered pair. So I'm going positive 3, positive 4, positive 3, positive 4. So now it says name the ordered pair and the location of the flowers building right here. So it's on the y-axis. It's right there. And let's see, I'm not going left or I'm not going right. I'm staying right there. So I have a 0 and I'm falling down 1, 2, negative 2. So now an information booth will be added at -3, 2. So we're going -3, +2, right, right there. That will be the information booth. To which building will the information booth be closest to? It is closest to Val's. Okay. Where is its location? Well, its location is going to be in quadrant 2. It already gave us the ordered pair. So if you have any questions, anything more that you didn't understand, make sure to mark it and I will go over it when you come in for your retake.